It felt like my dreams literally were just crushed before it even started. And like, I just watched like a bunch of opportunities I had at that time literally just like get flushed down the drain. Last year when I broke my arm.
How did that happen?
So I backflipped off of a pull-up bar. Bro, I was so depressed. Like, and I was like, bro, what am I doing with my life? And I almost settled down for like a crappy supervisor position at a job because of that. Because I was like, bro, how am I gonna like do calisthenics if my arm is cooked and it might be like potentially permanently cooked? I just couldn't stand that. So like, I learned how to do my own physical therapy and I got myself back into what I am now, and even better.
This is Nathalio. A few years ago, he was in a different place than he is today. But through perseverance, discipline, and faith, he transformed not only his body, but his outlook on life, all while motivating others through calisthenics. I created this series to find people who truly embody the values they believe in. So today, I sat down with Nathalio to talk about his journey. All right. First things first, we gotta ask how the man's doing. How's life been going so far?
Life is blessed. Gotta thank God. I'm doing amazing.
Nice.
I actually recently made a book.
Oh yeah, tell us about it.
It's called The War Within. It's not published as of yet. It's completed, but not out to the public. The book is about discipline, reflection, and faith. And to summarize it all, it's basically like a self-help book for people that don't understand their emotions and feel like they're the only people in the world that are struggling with that emotion.
Yeah.
And that book is to help them, well, give them some type of like guidance into like understanding like how to go on about that, and for them to understand that they're not the only person dealing with that.
Okay. I feel like that does tie a lot into, because you mentioned discipline, that ties a lot into what you currently do with calisthenics.
Yeah.
And I did want to ask about that. I want to ask, first things first, what got you into calisthenics in the first place?
Well, it started off with the gym. So I was going to the gym for like, maybe like 2 months in at the time. By the way, I'm from Turks and Caicos. I grew up in Provo, or Providenciales. And I saw this kid from a different school do a muscle up inside the gym, and I thought that was like the coolest thing.
It is.
So like, the moment I saw that, I literally I learned how to do it in like a week. And that was like the beginning of like me getting into calisthenics. I didn't know what it was. I just like enjoyed doing body weight. So like I'll be doing like upside down stuff, spinning around, going right back around, stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm telling you, most people would not have figured out how to do a muscle up in a week. Most people don't. That is pretty impressive. Not gonna lie.
Bro, I thought it was super cool. So I literally just learned it like within a week.
That's like one of the best motivations. Like, you know what? Why'd you do it? I just thought it was cool.
I was 17 at the time.
And 17 too, yeah. That's like one of the coolest things about like having peers that just know these things that you don't know that you might be interested in. And it just got you into this whole gateway of like, okay, well now you're full into calisthenics. You know how to do a whole bunch of other cool different things.
Yeah. A lot more things that are way harder than a muscle up, being honest.
On your Instagram page, what do you think was like something super duper challenging that was like way harder than a muscle up?
One of my recent freestyles, I would do like a cross grip muscle up. So like,
okay.
And then doing like a bunch of other stuff, like doing a spin around the bar, doing a reverse pullover, doing an L sit on the bar, etc. Like doing all those movements like back to back is like extremely tiring, especially like sometimes when I like mess up and then I have to like re-record it again and again and again until it's perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get it first try, but most of the time it's like third or fourth try.
Oh, that's still not bad. When you first started, what was the hardest part?
Well, for me, I started off my fitness journey in like the most generic way possible. It was actually in high school. There's this girl I had a crush on. She never knew that I liked her, but then I found out that she was possibly interested. I didn't know, possibly interested into a guy, right?
Uh-oh.
And it was during winter break, and I was like heartbroken over it. One of my friends was actually like, yo, let's go to the gym, let's go to the gym. I'm like, no. And then I finally gave in. And then when I finally go to the gym with him, he leaves me there to just fend for myself.
So went as a group and then he just disappeared and did his own thing.
Yeah, just the two of us. And then after that, I was just going to the gym, not even knowing why I'm going. I'm just going just to go. And then eventually, like, I just started learning stuff in there. Even though for like the first week or two, I was literally just doing the same workouts. I was on the Smith machine.
Yeah.
Doing chest press, and then I was also doing dumbbells. I think I was doing pull-ups at the time. I'm pretty sure I was. Believe it or not, I actually couldn't do, my push-ups sucked, but I was able to do pull-ups.
Okay.
Make that make sense. But to summarize everything, I was in there for like the first 2 weeks, not knowing what the heck I'm doing. And then after like a month, I met this guy that actually trained me for free and showed me around. And
Okay.
Yeah, he literally put me on the game, and then I came back to school like with a bit more muscle, not jacked, but a bit more muscle.
A little bit more confidence. Now you're like, okay, you know, I know some stuff.
Went from the skinny kid to like a little bit more meat on my bones.
Nice, nice. Were there ever any moments where you felt like you weren't cut out for, I guess, what you were getting into?
Okay, so I'm gonna name 2 moments. The first one is literally just seeing people on Instagram, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do that?
Yeah, right.
Like seeing people do that, I'm like, am I really built for this? Can I really do all this?
Yeah. Instagram is the worst for trying. It's weird when it comes to motivation on Instagram because sometimes it's like, okay, cool, they can do it, I might be able to do it. At other times it's like, what?
It kind of just shuts you down.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
let me just find a different lane.
Yeah, let me do something else, I guess. Try a different hobby, whatever.
And the second thing was last year when I broke my arm.
How did that happen?
So I backflipped off of a pull-up bar. And when I broke my arm, right, bro, I was so depressed. Like, I was like, it felt like my dreams literally were just crushed before it even started. And like, I just watched like a bunch of opportunities I had at that time literally just like get flushed down the drain. And I was like, bro, what am I doing with my life? And I almost settled down for like a crappy supervisor position at a job because of that. Because I was like, bro, how am I gonna like do calisthenics if my arm is cooked and it might be like potentially permanently cooked? Through all of that, like I did my own physical therapy because I hated being like, you know, even though it was temporary at the time, I hated feeling crippled. Yeah. It's a struggle to shower, a struggle to put on clothes, a struggle to do like basic like human needs, and I just couldn't stand that. So like I learned how to do my own physical therapy, and I got myself back into what I am now. Okay. And even better.
Was it from a dare, like, or were you just feeling yourself? Like,
no, I was just training at a park.
Okay.
And I was tired, and I was just showing somebody something, right? Like I already did like a 2-hour session of just straight like training. And then, you know, I was showing this guy like all the moves I can do, and I guess you can say that's ego in a way.
Yeah.
Because I'm not accepting the fact that my body is already exhausted, and I'm continuing to like go with it anyways. And it wasn't even embarrassing like falling down and having all those people see me like break my arm on the spot like that.
Really?
But the worst part in my opinion was like the healing process, and also like all the time that could have been used.
Yeah.
Because healing takes a very long time. I broke my arm last year in March, at the end of March, and then I didn't fully recover until September because I had to go through waiting till I can take my cast off, then having to do physical therapy so my arm could have mobility. And then after that, I had to do like strength training because this arm was way weaker than my right arm.
But you kept at it, and you're like, okay, well, if I can't recuperate, then damn it, I will, and we can get back into it.
You know, in my head, I was thinking like, if my arm kind of like is permanently cooked, I was thinking like just doing straight calisthenics with just one arm.
Really? So that would have been an interesting niche.
I was actually still working out with just one arm, believe it or not.
Okay.
I was doing one-arm push-ups, pistol squats.
Wow. Before I get to my next question, I actually want to talk about people being over-reliant on support. Because when it comes to perseverance, it's like you kind of have to push through the hardship. It can suck. It can be crappy, and you really just have to be like motivated, stubborn, and you have to believe in yourself enough to keep on going. But sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with like having support help take you there, because we all need support sometimes. It's not like you have to take it on and the challenge of whatever it is you want to pursue by yourself. Like if you need support from others to give you that energy boost to keep going, cool. I just think that there are some people who probably rely on that too much as a crutch. It's hard to avoid abusing it, and I think that's where people fall into that trap when they want to pursue something big. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I was curious to know like what you think about that.
When it comes to motivational support, it's good to have, but like it's kind of like a drug in a way. Like you can have some of it, but if you take too much, then when you don't have it, you're basically gonna start crashing out.
Yep.
In my opinion, when it comes to that, you have to be able to learn how to like just remain in solitude, not care about who likes or who even sees it, because sometimes you want that specific person to see what you did, or what you're doing, and be like, oh, I'm so proud of you, and blah blah blah. And you have to be okay with like just not caring about any of that and just doing what you're doing for you and not for anybody else. Because is it really like something that you want to do if it's just for somebody's attention?
Right. And this is fitting if you can't develop that muscle to deal with the hardship, because it's really just about like a pain tolerance. Your willingness to deal with it when it gets that tough. I think the biggest thing is not being too attached to the outcome Like not being too focused on the finish line and just being like however long it takes. I'm going to reach the finish line. I think that's where people should keep their focus. I think that's the best way to avoid being in that trap, as long as they keep that principle. What was the hardest thing you had to push through, like physically?
Well, recovering from my left arm injury, that was the hardest thing I had to push through.
Really?
I know that's not calisthenics, but the reason because of it was calisthenics. So.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Despite how grim it felt, it's like, okay, we got past it. Now you're like back in good form and you're like making these videos, doing these crazy things. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I don't learn my lesson. But
I mean, hey, that's sometimes the best people are that level of stubborn, you know?
that's how you got to be if you want to accomplish your goals.
Right.
You can't just, if you're not stubborn about it, if you're just letting that one thing put you down, then is it really something that you want to do?
Yeah.
And that's cold truth.
That's how you know you really want it. Because most people are like, okay, I guess that's it for me.
Yeah, I'm literally doing all this just because I personally enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And I want to motivate the people that are watching this or whoever else sees my stuff to better themselves in some type of way. It doesn't even have to be because of my video in specific, but it can just give them like a rough idea or a sketch of like what they want to do for themselves.
Now, outside of calisthenics, what was the hardest thing you had to push through in life in general?
The hardest thing I had to push through was honestly like losing my brother last year. So my older brother passed away, and it was something that like just stuck on my chest for like the longest. I couldn't cry about it. It was just like eating me out on the inside. And it was just like a big struggle. Like I was extremely distant. I was very like, you know, not too responsive. Like I would still talk, but I wouldn't talk too much.
Yeah.
I'll be okay with like just being alone to myself. And in a way, like it felt like I was just empty in a way. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing all this for at times. Like I know the reason why I started, but at the same time, it's like everything just felt empty.
First of all, I'm super sorry that happened to you, man. I can't imagine what it feels like to lose, you know, a brother like that. So I just really feel it sucks that really happened. I just feel for you, man. Now, has that had, I mean, obviously it would have had an impact on your motivation to keep doing what it is you were doing before. Like you were just getting into fitness and you were learning calisthenics, and then like such an event happens. It's like, how does it feels like it stops you in your tracks almost. It's like, man, it's like kind of like it's like something in the world shifts horribly, and like how do you continue from that? How do you just pick yourself back up? How did you do that?
Well, fortunately for me, like even though like when you're going through something like that, even though you may have people close to you, you're just so like empty on the inside, and you just feel so lost. But like eventually, like you have to like try, even though it feels impossible, it feels extremely hard. You have to find some type of way to just pull yourself back together. Yeah. And just acknowledge the people that are like there for you in your life.
I see.
And are actually like real about it.
It's more like, it's part of it is kind of you let time do its thing. Like you can, sometimes that's really all you can do.
I prayed about it. And at that time, like when my brother passed away, I literally stopped going to church because like, I just felt like nobody understood how it feels to like go through that. So I just wanted to like stay to myself. And yeah, to summarize how I like healed from that, it's just time. Yeah. Time and trying to like pick myself up. There's no specific way, it's just trying to. Because everybody heals differently. So like the way that I healed may not heal you, but trying to heal is the first step to healing. Yeah. All you can do is the best you can do. I do think that ties beautifully well into the concept of perseverance as a whole, regarding anything, whether it's hardship, whether it's pursuing a big goal, anything you want to do. I think as long as you have it in mind, like all I have to do is keep trying. That's like very solid tie into how perseverance can really change people's lives. You know, when it comes to things like that, like sometimes you think there's going to be that one person that always has the answer to like your problem. Yeah. And like you're going around asking people like, hey, what do I do about this? What do I do about that? Because like when you're going through something like that, it messes up the balance of everything else in your life. Because for example, if you're working a job or if like you have a relationship or like a friendship, then you have something like, it doesn't even have to be death. It could just be something that's just weighing on your mind. Yeah. If you don't like do something about that, it's just gonna ruin everything else slowly. Personally, what I did is just look to God. Even if I've never had the most perfect relationship with God,
Yeah.
I always try to like go to God.
Was there ever a moment where you almost quit?
A couple times actually. I thought about it when I broke my arm, and I thought about it like sometimes. Actually, I thought about it one time when I messed up my competition last year.
Oh, so you were in a competition.
Yeah, last year. It was the pull-up jam at Muscle Beach. And I was training for the muscle-up competition, and I didn't focus on my form when I did my muscle-up. So, like, my legs were swinging a bit. They touched the bar that was on the ground, and I got disqualified.
Dang.
And I was like, bro, I trained months to get my muscle-up reps, like, up there.
Yeah.
And you're telling me I folded and wasted all my time just for my foot to touch the bar.
How did that affect you? Like, man, I trained much for this and I get disqualified. I don't know how often the frequency is of these the pull-up jam.
For that one, it's once a year.
Oh, and it's once a year, so it's like, dang. So you gotta wait
Yeah.
next year.
Bro, I went there like thinking that, yeah, I got this. Cause like, bro, I've been training it like specifically so I know how much I can do.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I've been eating like extremely clean too. And before the competition, I popped a Celsius. So I was like
Man.
off of energy drinks. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm good.
I guess it's just one of those things where it's like once you get up on stage, it's so different. It's like, man, what happened?
Yeah, literally.
It's so
Extremely humbling.
it does be like that sometimes. It's actually kind of funny.
Like it brought me from feeling like I'm here to just plop.
I think that's part of the reason why some people quit halfway. Like a lot of people, they'll like, oh, I want to do this big thing and I want to get into it. So they'll start off, and in the beginning, yeah, it's tough. They might get far enough and they start to grow a little bit. I think whenever people face such a hardship like that and they feel like, dang, I'm such a failure, no one else would make that kind of mistake, or maybe they just start to plateau more, like, oh man, I'm not advancing as much, they kind of just quit halfway due to, like I mentioned earlier, it's like the pain tolerance thing. It's like they don't train themselves or go through it enough to kind of build that tolerance more and more. And so once they get a certain amount, they're like, all right, well, I guess I'm just not fit for it, or I guess whatever other thing comes to mind when that happens.
The one thing I'll say about calisthenics, it's really like, it's a sport where you have to be extremely patient
Yeah.
and you have to put a lot of time into it. Like, it's not like the gym where like, you know, you're gonna lift heavy and then you know you're gonna like lift like 5 pounds heavier or like 10 pounds heavier next week.
Yeah.
Like with calisthenics, you're gonna be doing the same mess ups like for the next 3 months until you get the skill.
Yeah.
Or even like a year.
That must be like, it must be inevitable to wonder, like, man, will I ever get good at this? Because when you've gone at it for months and you see you're still making the same mistakes, it's like, and it's hard not to think of the people on Instagram like, man, you see them do this cool thing, and it's like, man, here I am messing up with this thing 3 months in, but it's part of the process.
And one thing that was like extremely humbling and used to get on my nerves
Yeah.
is like being able to do like a bunch of bar tricks, and then next thing you know, I get asked,
Can you handstand?
and I'm just there like, and you know, like
one thing at a time, okay?
like it's a simple move, don't get me wrong, right? Like the strength part, easy. The balance, not so much.
Yeah.
And every time I try a handstand, I'll just keep flopping on it. And like last year, December, I literally got some parallel bars and just started practicing handstand on that. And now I'm actually like able to like not do one perfectly. Like I don't have like the most perfect handstand, but I can do one.
Okay. But that's because, yeah, you didn't quit halfway. You were like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know how to do it, but I can at least get this thing to start, and bam.
And like
that's something.
for like the past year or maybe more, maybe longer, I've been trying like handstand attempts, like maybe for like a week or two, and give up. Cause I'm just like, yeah, I'm getting nowhere with this, because like most skills that I train for, I'm seeing progress within like a couple days or a week. And then with that, it's just like, I'm getting nowhere with this. It's just a waste of time.
I feel you. What do you tell yourself when things just aren't improving? When it's like, okay, maybe this is taking longer to learn than I thought. Maybe this is supposed to be easy, but here I am fumbling. Like, what is it that you tell yourself in those situations?
That's when I kind of like sit down with myself, like put away the phone, ask myself, okay, what's the vision do I see for this? And what do I actually want to do with this? Because like if it's extremely difficult, and if it's one of those things that like I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm just doing it,
Yeah.
then I have to like make up my mind if I want to continue spending time on it, because time is the most expensive resource that you have,
Absolutely.
or do I want to drop it? And that's actually something that I had to think about when I was making my book, because I'm like, bro, I never made a book ever. I don't know the steps to making a book. I don't know anything about copyright.
Yeah.
So I had to learn all of that. I had to get my book registered. I had to like get it copyrighted and stuff. I had to learn like all the stuff to what to do just in case of like somebody steals my work. It's just like on the complicated side to like actually like do.
Yeah, no, I'd imagine there's a lot, like as you mentioned, there's a lot that goes into it, from like copywriting, having to choose the formatting, the text, things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more than just let me write something what's on my mind, and then you have to take it through a publisher if they approve it, things like that. So, like completely honest, what do you do when you just don't feel like training?
Yeah, when I have those days where I just don't feel like training, I literally just like do whatever. So like sometimes I'll literally like ride around on my skateboard, just pick a random direction and just look at random places and be like, you know what, I'm gonna go there today, because why not?
Okay, so you take a little breather, explore. Like you don't have to be all grind all the time. It's just not realistic.
Yeah, sometimes I use my phone and just call some people I haven't spoke to in a while and do that. Sometimes I literally just sleep in the entire day.
I like that.
You know, that's kind of lazy, but sometimes you need those rest days.
And honestly, I wanna bounce off that. And like I don't think that's lazy. I think because most people that think like we're taught not to relax, and so when we relax, it's like subconsciously, dang, but I could be doing this. But like no, it's just perfectly fine to just do nothing. Literally, sometimes.
In my opinion, like no matter what you do, most of the time, if you do it every day, it's just gonna burn you out. For example, training or studying, or like trying to learn something new. Like for me, when I was making my book and creating it and writing it, I would try to work on it like all day, every day, and like it would literally burn me out so much to the point where like my brain is like fried.
It's funny because you always hear these, I don't know, influencers that want to give advice, be like, yeah, you know, every second counts, or every day that you're wasting not doing this is lost potential. And it's like, no, sometimes you really just need to breathe. Like there's really nothing wrong with sleeping in. I guess it's just as long as you stay consistent in some form or fashion. Like if you go to the gym, I don't know, you're whatever your pace is. It could be once a week. I don't care if other people are doing it 5 times a week. If your pace is once a week, then like whatever. You're doing it consistently every week. Like
I mean, sometimes you're gonna get more results from 3 days a week than doing something every day for a week.
Exactly. Because you need to repair. I mean, you need to repair physically. You need to repair mentally in all aspects.
Even with relationships, like if you're seeing somebody every single day, I'm sure you're gonna get tired of that person. Even with friendships, if I see you every single day, I'm pretty sure eventually I'm gonna like get annoyed of you.
All the girls watching, it's like he's no longer husband material.
No comment.
He's like, I'm gonna need some vacations away from you, honey. I'm sorry. Nah, but no, I do know what you mean. And even if you do, because a lot of people beat themselves up over this. Like, let's say they miss a week. Like, oh, I was supposed to work out. I've been working out every week. I missed this week. I suck. I should have kept at it. And it's like, I mean, so what if you get back to it?
There's always the next 10 minutes.
Exactly. It's not like it's over forever. You can always get back to it. So people are like, they get down on themselves and they talk bad about themselves, and it's crazy because like it's so what, you fall out of it, you can get back in.
Yeah, and time don't wait for no man.
And I think that's like, part of perseverance.
Like it don't matter. Like you could, like it's okay to be sad. I'm not telling you like keep it pushing and forget about your feelings, but always remember that time is always moving, and like that time you're spending sulking about something is the time that can be used to just making a better choice and making better decisions. Yeah. So like, yeah, she left you, or like, yeah, you lost your friends, you don't have no friends, or like, yeah, this happened or that happened, but time is still moving. So you got to make that choice if you're just gonna like sit there and let time just take you away, or if you're gonna use time.
Let's leave it off with this. What advice would you give to people who have given up on pursuing a big goal that they have? What words do you have for them?
If we're talking about like just straight up just giving up, lost all hope, to that person I'd say just to themselves, and to that person I'd say just to find themselves. And it happens in life is what I would say. Like sometimes we look at things and think that we want to do that, and turns out we don't want to do that. For me, before I started fitness, well, before I got into as deep into it as I am now, I originally wanted to like be a music artist and like make rap songs. But then after a while of like making music, I never released any of it. And there's only like so much people that actually like know I ever like was into that. I kind of realized that it really wasn't for me, being honest. And like sometimes that happens. Sometimes you think you want to do something, and whole time you actually didn't want to actually do it. It was
Yeah.
just something that like maybe it was fun, but it wasn't like a career option for you.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Knowing how to let go.
And for the people that are struggling with that, it's okay. Just take some time. Not all the time in the world, because next thing you know, you're gonna be 40. But take some time and think about like what you actually enjoy doing. Look at your hobbies and think, okay, would I do this as a career? And if I do it as a career, would it ruin like the fun aspect of it? Oh, and one more thing actually, like before you give up, think about how much work you put in and think about how close you are to the finish line.
Yep.
And one thing that I say always in like a lot of my stories, you can do anything you put your mind to as long as you give it your all. And personally, I believe in Jesus Christ. So like as long as you put your faith into him, literally just put in that work, don't give up. You can literally accomplish your goals. Don't worry about what that person next to you is saying. Don't worry about what the people on Instagram or the people you haven't talked to in 5 years are saying about you, or like what family member doesn't like what you're doing or whatever. Who cares? You're doing it for you. So like, regardless of all that, just accomplish your goals. I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart, you can do it.
And that's what separates those who quit and those who actually make it. Man, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to see me and chat with me and everything.
Bro, for sure, bro.
I do think when I reached out and everything, it was like, man, is he gonna have time? Is he gonna be able to reach out? Yeah, it's just, this talk was like super duper valuable, and I'm just glad to have you as like my very first true individual guest.
Yo, shout out true individual.
But all right, guys, stay tuned for the next video, and I will catch y'all later. Did it, man?
Are we winning? Are we winning, Dad? What's your favorite video game growing up?
Probably like Smash Brothers. It was like, I used to play that game on the Nintendo 64 all the time. That was one of my most played games, along with the Mario Kart games, like on the SNES.
Yeah.
I would beat the game, and I would keep replaying it. I was really addicted.
Now that you mentioned those two games, in my opinion, those two games are actually what ruined friendships. Mario Kart 8 almost made me crash out on somebody. Now, when it comes to Smash Bros, I'm the toxic one. Like, I ran multiple gauntlets on people. I did 1v4s. and
Oh
won.
my gosh. So you're that one friend that goes against 4 casuals and be like, yeah, just whatever.
There was only like one person in Smash that ever gave me like an actual hard time. It was just some random person at like an old job. He got me to like one stock and I was like one shot. And I'm like, bro, nobody ever did that to me.
I see. Well,
And, like-
you could tell if the hairline's not straight, then they're good at the game.
At that point in time, I was already touching grass and I was
Yeah,
already
it's like, I don't know if I want to sacrifice grass, touching grass, you know what I'm saying?
like you see the you see the sand right
It
here?
feels
Just a
nice.
blessing.
It feels
Some of y'all don't know how this feels.